we on?
We are on.
Very good.
April 3rd.
Thank you. All right, let's call this special meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order. Roll call.
Keisha Johnner.
Here.
Mark Ramey.
Here.
Steve McCombs.
Here.
Our agenda has been continuing impacts on county operations of the COVID-19 crisis. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve today's agenda.
Second.
McCombs.
Aye.
Ramey.
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye.
All right, very good. Just for the open session, a little bit of housekeeping. I believe we're having a legislative call, Keisha, when? At
10 a.m.
10 a.m. We'll go into closed session for that call. After that call, Ed Bull will be out here, I believe, with Joy to discuss shelter-in-place orders. He's got a couple of hearings this morning, so he could not make it until that time. So we'll do that post that call, and I notified Justin and Troy to come out at that time. So those are just a few housekeeping items that we'll have. So this will be we'll have some breaks in between some conversations if we don't have enough to fill the time between each event. For open, Steve, you passed out this morning some contracts here for DHS. You just want review from the board and comment, or what would you like out of this?
Obviously, we have to make a decision on where we're at, how operationally, my recommendation is that we go ahead and sign the new lease, because I'm not sure that we can logistically place everybody in 6th Street Annex in the courthouse at this time, because we don't have enough information on how we're going to go forward with that. But yeah, this was just for everybody to look over it. It's pretty much the same as the previous lease. The square footage hasn't changed. I thought that it might because of the basement usage, but the basement usage is being utilized by the county side of DHS.
Okay.
So the lease is basically the same as last year.
Okay. Steve, when would you like action on this?
Well, the lease is not up until, I believe, in September sometime, so it doesn't have to be right away.
Okay.
I mean, I'd like everybody to look it over first before we,
Okay.
before we
So
make that
Jake, when is
decision.
our next scheduled regular meeting?
The next scheduled meeting is the 14th of April.
Okay.
I'm happy to put that on the list if you guys just want to get it out of the way and done. That way Barbara doesn't continue
Yeah.
to chase.
Why don't we do that? Put that on the list, and that'll give
Okay.
all of us time to read and ask questions and
All right.
look this over. So let's plan on 4/14
I mean,
for an action item.
yeah, obviously I'd like everybody to have input on what they think about that move, of moving anybody from the 6th Street, but my opinion is logistically it would be a nightmare at this point in time.
Yeah, Steve, I'm going to look over the agreement for text and those things, but if you think that's too big a lift, then we don't need to even worry about that.
Well, I don't think we need anything else on our plate right now.
All right, then that's all.
There's an out clause, isn't there, Steve?
Pardon me?
There's an out clause, isn't there?
There is for both parties, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if things were to change, yeah.
Yeah, we had that in the other one, so.
And I've got a copy for you, Jake, when you get back Monday.
Yeah, Danny forwarded it to me, so thank you.
Oh, okay.
I already have it.
Okay.
Good. Very good. We'll put that on the docket for the 14th.
I guess I will ask a question, something to think about.
Oh, all right. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
And I know Kim had, and this is not something that she probably wants to really think about, but would this space, could they utilize all of it if, by chance, Kim, we talked about impact. I think we could probably get a little more responsibility, maybe some more togetherness. Is there any room in your area at all for impact?
In our building?
Mm-hmm.
How many people? people are you talking?
Well, they have those 2 offices, correct?
I think the impact is 2 offices, yeah.
Well, technically, I think they're utilizing 3,
Yeah.
Seriously?
yeah.
And it's okay if you don't, I just was, what I'm thinking of, we never know the change, the fluctuation, I think if they had accountability and they were showing up,
Mhm.
people saw a little bit more, so.
The
Let me
Let
think
you
about
mull it
how
over,
how we can double some people up or something, let me think about that.
but I don't want it to be something so it's
Yeah,
causing, cause they're only like 2 days right.
keep in mind, the logistics of all this, you have to take into account, we've moved juvenile court services out there too, so they come in play.
They're not here, they're
Yes,
out,
no, juvenile court services are there,
Oh, they are?
yes. Remember we moved them from the 4th floor, we
Yeah.
put them out there.
okay, alright, I didn't know that, okay, yeah, I forgot about that, yeah,
So
And that
that's
would
why,
be,
that's why the logistics become a little bit complicated.
okay, alright, okay,
Uh,
see, I forgot which,
Juvenile court services are now here, and
okay, alright,
then impact.
and it may not work, Kim.
Can they share an office? Do they all, they fit in one office?
well, but then the other thing that you have to think about is everybody in that building is not on our network. So they have internet service, but they're not a part of our computer network.
So that makes it more difficult.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it would, no offense, but I think it'd be easier not mixing them with her because
Okay.
then you're gonna have to add a separate line for them to
You have to
have.
have a T1
Yep, okay.
for them, yeah.
Whereas you have it there at the building already for all those other people. That's just my 2 cents.
Well, I think right now, I think Keisha, what you're describing, I think we need to have, I like it. I think we need to talk about Kim's, it's not just a space issue, it's a bandwidth issue. Over time, we are looking at public health and saying with a lot of these social services groups, hey, Kim, could you oversee that one? And how about that one? And how about that one? And how about that one? How do we build the accountability? You said it very well. How do we build the accountability into these groups? And I think we can do that without a move.
That's what I was wondering, I was gonna ask her, maybe that's something that,
And
She
I
has an
think
input
as
there.
we're looking at just what we're doing right here, where we're leveraging staff to do some different things, I think we gotta give Kim time to look at her staff and say who could become more embedded within impact. Or maybe have more discussion or just some, whatever that is, whatever that link is, so that we have the same visibility that now we have with senior nutrition, which we've never had before. Because I think that's what you're thinking about, right?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but impact's functionality is pretty much based on what we fund here in the county. Am I
well, no, they get
wrong
their,
in saying
see,
that?
and the problem would be for Kim and thinking about it is the LIHEAP is the people that would be lining up for the LIHEAP, and that would
Well,
be,
and my staff is already doing LIHEAP applications, because impact's never there.
Right.
So Stacy and Dell and
okay.
Right.
that group in my
See, that's where I'm
department already
having
do that stuff.
difficulty.
So why are we doubling up things?
Well, I think the evaluation has to be, and this is maybe where we go. So Keisha, I think you've got us going down a path of evaluating how do we use impact? Are we double funding essentially? And should we continue that relationship? Because I think it's more than just it is accountability, but are we already doing this through other county services? That might be the place that we first, before we ever think about moving.
They are the conduit to LIHEAP though.
Yes.
I mean, so we have to have,
But
we have to have that.
I think what the problem,
Okay.
her department is so efficient that I think there's a little bit of lackadaisical part on impact.
Well, and when I have said to them, hey, we're doing your work, we're doing your applications, they go, yeah, thanks.
You know,
I'm like,
my-
that's not exactly how I meant that.
My first question would be, in the money that we fund to impact, are all those dollars going to the people that need money, or are we also funding overhead for impact with the money that we give them?
Well,
Any administrative cost
Yeah,
takes away
administrative
from,
costs.
yeah, 15,000 of it is what they consider from Marion County is in kind, because that's the building, that's what they, and then we give them another, I think it's like 5,000 actual
right?
cash.
Is that 5,000 cash, do they dip out of that pool for administrative costs?
I'd have to look, I don't have it right.
I mean,
this
if that's the
minute,
case, we seriously have to
Trying to
look at
look.
how we're doing business.
But you know, they're a private nonprofit, so they,
Right.
financially, they are able to scoop 15% of every federal grant they get for administration.
They're another group that has
They're-
figured out how to play the nonprofit
They-
game of
They,
federal and state programs.
and they have there's this agreement that private nonprofits can do with the federal government that allows them 15% of, and think about the amount of money that comes in for LIHEAP.
yes,
I mean,
that's their biggest,
We're
yes.
talking probably $1 million or more, I don't know, but
It's a large sum,
I
yes.
would imagine it's huge.
So 15% of that is
15% of that is off the top
Yep.
administration.
Yep.
And if you wanna know the detail on how that works,
That's crazy.
Lindsay,
It's a great gig.
Lindsay
That's obscene.
came from the nonprofit world and she knows exactly how it works.
So,
Well, you see where I'm going with on this,
Yeah.
and so I am open to suggestions,
so this isn't so much an action item
nope. it's
as,
just a-
as it is, Kim, maybe what, to what Keisha is saying, once we get through this time, is there somebody, on your staff that could do, for lack of a better phrase, an audit of impact? And it would be what I would call an informal audit. In other words, make contact with them, assess the services they provide versus what we're providing, assess the services they're supposed to provide that you're providing, and then dig into the budgetary side of this and say how much money are they actually receiving and what are they actually doing with those dollars? And could that be more effectively distributed to people who need them? And maybe if you do that, then you can report back to the board, and then probably the next step is what do you do with that, right?
Yeah, I'm just seeing, and Ann knows, the director, she knows that I'm looking into that, because I question why some counties are receiving, they're receiving the, workers,
Mhm.
several, whether it's 3 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever.
Right.
When they were open, and, yeah, and I told her I didn't think that was, we need to be, well,
Right.
wait a minute, we gotta look at this.
Okay. Good discussion, so
Thank you,
Kim.
sorry, didn't mean to.
No, that's good. That's good. Next issue or next item, I have given you each copies of the Confluence Master Service Agreement, Professional Services Agreement. Please review these.
Okay.
And in one of our meetings next week, Monday or Tuesday, I would like to come to a decision on this. And the point of this agreement, if you recall, is Confluence is the group that is interested in doing our overall master plan for the VA project. Now, there are two big asterisks that we need to attach to this, and they know they are aware of them. Number one, we don't know after these 30 days where everything will stand economically. That does not, however, I do not think that should stop us from going forward with developing some type of blueprint for that campus. Because we can have the blueprint and we can act on that blueprint when we deem it is appropriate. So I think we still need to go, since they're interested, they have time. We're getting, I think, a pretty good price as you go through the price list on here. I think this is the time to engage what I think is a very high quality group to do this. And I love the outline of the meetings and how they're trying to get public input and how they organize all that information for us. It fits all the criteria that I laid out for them when I took them around the campus. the continuity we want to see in any development of that site. Number two, if the economy doesn't improve, if we end up on some type of long-term recession, there will be people that will come after us in these seats, and I would like them to have something to work with. I don't want it to be a blank slate. They certainly can scrap it, throw it away, do whatever they want. But I don't think it'll be money wasted, whether we do it near term or whether it's done 4 years from now or 5 years from now, given whatever the economy turns out to be post-coronavirus.
Will the city of Knoxville, they'll have their input on this also?
If you go through the document, Steve,
I kind of seen
there
that.
is a whole series of meetings with the city and the community,
Okay,
because I asked them to do that.
okay,
And their way of doing planning is to have those discussions with
Yeah.
stakeholders.
it's very important to me that they be involved in that.
Absolutely. And I think they will be a good partner with us to ensure that gets done in an effective way. I don't want to just have meetings to have meetings. And
Me
I
either.
don't, and I do not want input from people who can't provide constructive input. Like, let's save it and let's give it to a group of tech companies from the West Coast to develop an incubator site.
Well,
If I hear that one more time, I'm gonna,
I think we've already been down that road.
yeah, we still get phone calls. We have another group calling us now at the behest of Senator Ernst to make this a site to train veterans who are recovering from PTSD. The problem with all of these,
They
and
should have done that.
I've been called now 5 times from different groups like this. The problem with each one, they want it for free.
No.
Yeah, they should have,
They saw we got it, and now the federal government, particularly the senator I just referenced, is now letting all the veterans groups know, hey, talk to these guys and they might give it to you at a discount. So we went through all that work with no help, no money, no nothing. And now this is and they drop that name every time they call.
really.
That's not a surprise though.
Frankly, that is, Steve.
Really?
That one's thrown me off, because I would have thought that if her office is interested in that, why wouldn't they call us directly?
Well, point taken.
That just fries me. So again, no help on the back, no help when we were trying to do it, and now they're seeing an opportunity, and boy, if we went for it, guess what would happen?
Make us look good.
It'd make them look good.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's
Make
what-
the- Yeah, they're thinking makes
Yeah.
them look good.
So
I have
Anyway,
one question,
that's
Mark.
my rant for the next 10 minutes.
I'm a little, in the back of my head, I'm a little confused on the project name. Is that gonna be a little bit confusing, because we currently, isn't there already currently an Iowa Veterans Home in Iowa?
Yeah.
Isn't that a little confusing? Why are
I
they?
don't know. I don't care what we call it. You
Yeah,
can call it whatever you want.
They just named it that, yeah.
We can scratch that out and put whatever name you want. We can put it Project X for all I care.
Well, I know,
Mark,
but it's a little confusing to me.
Was there anybody else that was interested in doing these agreements at all, or is this the one that's?
No one that I cared to talk to.
Okay.
There are others, but they come highly recommended by the people doing our elevator work.
Okay.
The architect that recommended them, and they guaranteed they would come in under public bidding thresholds. And you'll see in the price they did.
Yep.
So that's what I wanted. And they've worked on some major projects, not just in Des Moines, but in other large metro areas. So they have an expertise level that we need.
Okay.
So I also love the fact that they have a relationship with Garden and Associates. You will see them listed in here, and it will be split into 2. It'll be split between Confluence and Garden when Garden starts doing civil engineering work.
Mhm.
Well, Garden had done almost all of the subground work out there in the 90s.
Right. So they're
And
familiar
they
with it.
brought a stack of documents to us that we did not have.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
showed,
right, yep, okay.
and we've already started looking at the lines to see if they're still usable.
Yeah.
because they're more recent than we thought. So,
I appreciate the fact that they have that relationship with Gordon because they do have some familiarity with the site.
yeah. So anyways, review this, and then probably, Tuesday, Jake, we'll do this in our open meeting.
Just so I can be clear, that would be an action item for this topic.
Correct.
Are you wanting that for the Tuesday, the 14th? Because then I'll just add it just like a regular item for your.
Yeah, I wanna do it next Tuesday,
Okay, so then,
since we got this continuous open.
okay, would you just touch base with Ed, because we're putting that specific item on there, that there isn't like public notice of the agreement, because we just basically have a blanket. You guys are meeting for the coronavirus stuff. Most action items technically that aren't resulting of this would need like 24-hour notice so people know that you're doing that.
Then why couldn't we put the why couldn't we do it on Monday? Why couldn't we put a notice item out on Monday? Why do I have to talk
We
to
can,
Ed?
it would just be putting out another agenda. It's fine. I just wanted to make sure that you were covered and
Yeah,
how you wanted.
all I was thinking is that Tuesday or Wednesday, we would talk about this in our open, and we would do an amended agenda for that day. That it's going to also include this discussion item, along with if we wanted to do the DHS agreement sooner, we could do that. So,
Okay.
yeah, we'll
however
take
you
care.
wanna work it.
So put this on Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll see when everybody
Okay.
gets a chance to read it.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other items for open?
Did you?
Oh, I'm sorry,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. Did you see the update from Cindy Henniger regarding our renewal? The email?
I did. I saw the email. That's all I saw. Is there anything you want to talk about right now?
Well,
What's
I
in
just
it?
wanted
What's in it?
So we were at 8.2 with Wellmark,
Yes, and we came in well under that now. So where are we at now?
so now we're at 6.6.
Okay, so not as well as I
Not
would
as well
like.
as we had hoped, but they did come down.
Okay, so here's where we're at with that. Given the coronavirus, we had scheduled a meeting in end of April? When was it, Lisa?
No, it was beginning of April.
I don't know, but it was in April
Beginning
sometime.
April.
So we were going to go to Minneapolis and visit with another health insurer, because our initial renewal rate for Wellmark was coming in over 8%, right? And I did not appreciate that, because they've been giving us rate decreases and minimal rate increases for the last 3 years, 3 renewals, Lisa, or 4? Our claims experience has been good, and Wellmark did what I was afraid Wellmark would do, which is they were buying down rate so that when it finally something went bad in their pool, they could just jack everybody's rate by 8%, and they've got 70% of the market, so they feel like they're invincible. I don't like that. But I told Cindy, arrange a meeting with a group out of Minnesota. They're a new health insurance consortium. They sound excellent, and they sound like a great fit for us. So we were going to do an exploratory conversation with them and just see if there would be any kind of a fit. But given the current environment, we're not going to do that. So, and I don't want to do it by video, and I don't want to, because I've got to look these people in the eye before when I talk to them. So Wellmark has now come back, knowing that, because I told Cindy to tell them, and they've dropped this now by just shy of 2%. So that's at least something. When do we have to sign the renewal? What's our drop dead date to respond?
I don't have a drop dead date yet. We're still compiling the information with Aflac to use their Solaris.
Tell everybody about that,
Okay.
because this is actually a really good. I'm excited about this change.
You're not
This
the
is
only
huge.
one. So, Aflac, who, we have, the employees can purchase the products, cancer, accident, and short-term disability. They have a platform that's called Solaris, and what that does is it, I'll just start from the beginning. So what they're able to do is, and let me tell you, we have another Aflac rep. So we don't have Holly, we no longer have Paige, we now have Jane.
Okay.
And so what Jane is going to do is do all of our renewals for all of our products. She's gonna call every one of our employees and walk through everything they have and if they wanna make any changes.
Okay.
So we don't have to face this, because we're right in the middle of the crunch of, we should be having employee meetings, we've gotta get all this documentation done, with everything that's transpiring, we don't know what it's gonna look like when we get out there, like, to do meetings. So this year, they're gonna call all of our members, and Jane is a certified, what is it called? Certified, I went blank.
Is she a certified insurance counselor, CIC?
It's not insurance counselor, it's benefit
Or
counselor.
it's
I
the
think.
same, it's
Yeah,
the same thing
same
for
thing.
benefits, yeah.
So she's gonna walk through our health, our dental, our vision, our Aflac. She's gonna do all that for us. So the Solaris platform then this year will call everybody. Then next year we can say, hey, if you're comfortable, go out there, do your renewal. If you're not, we'll call you. We can customize it however we want. If we want her to call everybody again next year, she will.
So let me, I'm gonna put this in the terms that I'm used to from a corporate standpoint. Most corporate systems, you put your benefits out there on a standardized system that has everything. Health and welfare plan, additional insurance products, your life insurance products, anything else. And the employee reviews their benefit selections and decides whether or not they want to continue with that program or they want to make a change. And they can do that all from the computer. It is so much easier, and it also, will it total up their total premium?
I'm sure it will. I haven't seen
That's
one that doesn't.
the biggest thing that it does for employees is it shows what the cost of the insurance is. And then as you make changes, it tallies it right there, what your monthly cost will be. It's huge for people.
That's the bottom line.
I wondered,
for most-
yeah, why
That's
you
the
were
bottom
doing that.
line
Yeah.
for most people.
When we were with LMC, we did have a platform like this. And then it all went to pot. So I'm excited for that. And, we have a concern with like secondary roads. They don't use internet, they don't have internet. They can still come in, they can call. There's still so many options that they can have that we're not saying that you have to do it on the computer. I don't think we're to that point yet, but those that can do it on the computer.
But we may get to that point.
We may.
So just like we've talked about everything else where we want more efficiency, greater standardization, and lower our cost.
Mhm.
I know things have been done very much in a paper-intensive, hand-holding way in the past.
Very.
But I think we need to put more responsibility on employees to get their benefits done, get them done timely, and know what they're buying. And with a program like this, you can get everybody the information they need so they can ask intelligent questions about their benefits, because that's on them.
Here's my thoughts to that.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we do that? Why couldn't we if we have a spare room eventually in court, why can't we set up a room, a central kiosk area for employees to come in and do that online?
Well, I think
Well,
you could.
we
I
can.
think you could,
Yeah.
Steve, absolutely. Absolutely.
That people that don't have that access at home,
You bet.
that'd be a perfect, we could use one of these rooms somewhere in the courthouse for that
You bet.
purpose.
Absolutely.
And
It's a great
remember
idea.
too, the crew supervisors now have notepads,
Right.
iPads.
Right.
They could have their employees at the shops or wherever it's convenient go through their renewal.
But whoever's sitting there with me have to be kind of proficient in,
And it's so easy. Vermeer has done this for years.
I know,
I
but
mean,
Well, this is standard in
This
every.
is, yeah.
I know just enough on a computer to be dangerous.
But
Steve,
you
you would
could,
be fine.
you could do this.
This is
I
this is
promise.
prompting. This is hit
If
the next
it's
one.
if it's a
Yep,
prompt
yep.
thing, then yeah, okay.
Just
So-
a password and
So
username and
my,
password and prompt.
so my answer to your question is not there's no drop dead date yet. We're still putting the Solaris information together.
Okay,
It's gonna come here soon though, because I'm gonna need to know what their options are so they can build it into the system.
okay,
Cause that, building the platform usually takes 6 weeks.
right.
And they've tasked them to do it quicker.
So given what we're getting out of Wellmark with the 2%, almost 2% reduction, which is good. I think we're not gonna pursue any other carriers this year because we can't meet them.
Right.
Before the renewal. It's not gonna have enough time once this is over.
But that'll be a viable option next year. We're on a yearly renewal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's annual renewal.
And I
So,
think that was kind of the assumption that,
so we'll keep them, now we forced it down
Right.
by telling them we were gonna do it. So
That tells me something right there.
that tells you something right there, right? So we'll continue to put pressure on them this year. We'll add the additional service platform, which is gonna be great, and do that, but,
and that's all at no cost. Aflac does that and they don't charge us. There's nothing extra for that, for them doing that.
Why
so.
isn't our insurance company, why isn't that offered through?
why doesn't Wellmark do that? You're
Yeah.
gonna say, why doesn't
Yeah.
Wellmark do that? Because it's Wellmark, and they don't have to.
Yeah,
One of the most
But
inefficient
if-
companies I know of is.
if you
That's
think
so
about it,
frustrating when they're,
if you think about it, for Aflac, they get to talk to all of our employees. It's a good selling tool for them.
Hey, blame Obamacare. It took all the competition away. They have no
Yeah.
they have no competition.
okay.
Not material anyway. So we'll keep this in our back pocket for now, and then you'll put a date on one of our agendas when we have to actually approve the renewal.
And I'll probably target Jake the 14th.
Okay, that'd be great.
I'll talk to Cindy again today, so I'll tentatively think about the 14th.
Yeah, just keep it moving as much as we can so we can have everything in line for the new rates,
Right. Okay, good discussion. Anything else for open session?
Nothing for me.
Okay. We are 20 minutes from, or 25 minutes from our call. Is it a call? Is that what we're doing? Call? Video? Zoom?
Yep.
Okay. So let's maybe talk a little bit about item topics and get those in our heads and what we want to talk about.
Do you just wanna alert me?
I specifically want to talk about the effects of the privatization of Medicaid, how it's affected the public transportation sector. Also, I want to talk to them about the possibility of restructuring the comp board. That's my two biggest ones, I guess.
Keisha?
Mine would be the businesses, the small business in particular. Whether, are we going to be looking at, opening those up, especially in, those, be able to handle the 10 people?
Yeah, to compete with the big box.
Or are we going to make the big boxes stop selling? Yeah,
Go the other
non-essentials. That's my big, and, I'll leave it at that.
I'm gonna raise the church issue. Talk to them about their ability to close churches. That I don't think the governor has that authority to close churches.
You too?
Texas and Florida, the governor said they don't. And so churches should be able to, under social distancing guidelines, continue to structure services both online and on site according to that. But to have a government say you can't meet at a church is a big, of all the First Amendment things we are being asked to modify, rights that we have, freedoms that we have, that one's the biggest. Everybody thinks it's, there's really no speech implications, but the right to assemble certainly has been impacted. But it's it's freedom to worship, freedom of religion that's been impacted probably the most. So.
How about ask them if there have been given any thought to, if there is a shelter in place order, what does that mean? And has there been given any thought on how that is to be enforced?
And then I would like to make sure the breakdown of communication that we're seeing.
The state level conversation.
Yep.
What are they doing?
Yep.
Yeah, that definitely is a topic.
So that's kind of what I had for a list. I added your church, whatever. Yeah, I'm like,
I think we'll just call it the state response. So far. And we can even bring up, if you guys want to bring up a specific example of our employees being called up and not us getting them back.
Yeah, maybe. I thought we had it worked out, but I got an email this morning that, that'll just blow things up even worse.
I think they're gonna need to have an example to be able to.
What do we have?
Or, I just got this. They originally, when I told them, we're bringing our people back, and Brent was like, okay, all right. And then they told the staff that they replaced them up there. And then yesterday in the morning, I went over there and they were doing work for them from here. And so this morning I got an email saying, yeah, that's not working, and they're working on what our concerns are. But in the meantime, yesterday they showed me pictures of where they were working up there, and they're on top of one another. I mean, they're crammed in there like tuna in a can from all over central Iowa.
So they're defeating their own purpose.
So I don't want to send them back up there because I'm not going to send them back up there. I don't care what,
They're not giving them appropriate space to work in.
Well, if one of those people in Polk County or wherever up there in central Iowa gets this, drags it into this place they're having them work, the whole thing blows up. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Right. Can we say, guys, to these folks, since they're legislators, and what about the regionalization plan that they put together? That seems to have gone up in smoke, or at least has been something that's been more of a moving target than a plan that had any kind of execution behind it.
Yeah, well,
This
didn't even exist 8 days ago.
Yeah, that map that the governor showed, is that more form or does that have substance to it?
That map is how they carved the regions out.
So they created the
years
healthcare coalitions for
Yeah.
the regions.
Right, that's what we've got that one guy working on, right?
Right, but that map has the service area 1 is started out 3 separate service areas, all called service area 1.
Right.
Now they've just merged them all together. So there's 22 counties in that service area 1 that includes Polk.
Right.
So we were kind of separate from Polk, but now we're in with Polk.
Okay. At a minimum, is it something we need to put on their radar for when things get back to normal, whatever that turns out to be, to say we can't go through another one of these with it, I mean, I think it's structural, right? We are seeing states like New York basically make comments that their regionalized healthcare platform didn't work. And Cuomo has said that in his press conferences. And if it doesn't work in a state like New York, how in the world is it working here? So is it more a question of they need to be aware that if we have to go through another one of these again, there better be somebody doing a triage of how we responded and assessing whether this organizational structure works or does not work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, or at least don't change the rules once the crap hits the fan.
Right.
I
Well,
mean,
there,
And you can't,
That's
and
the-
no communication and changing the rules, just demanding.
well, if you set a structure in place, you should test the structure to ensure its viability in the event of what you built the structure to do,
right,
right?
right.
So
And-
if that's what you built, then you stay with it until proven that it fails. Now, if they're saying it fails, and that's why they're winging it right now,
They
then,
didn't even give it a chance to
Yeah.
fail, and I get what they're doing. I mean, from the standpoint of what's going on in eastern Iowa, 51% of the state's cases are in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 counties in eastern Iowa, and those counties are in a service area where nobody signed the contract. And so they're trying to figure out,
Mhm.
Oh.
they're trying to
that
figure out
makes the light
how
bulb
to
go off.
fix this using everybody else. That's really what it is.
so why did they get passed? How come they didn't have signed contracts? We did.
Cause they said, we don't want your grant money
We're
for
not-
all the stipulations,
We're not doing it.
we're not doing
They
it.
just said we're not doing it. That was, and it was,
And it was a
Lynn,
big-
it was Lynn County.
it was a
that-
big deal,
It
that
was
Lynn
a-
County started it,
Yeah.
their hospital said, we're not playing your state, IDPH, we're not playing your game, and all of your grant, stipulations, we don't want your money.
So which is better?
What's
So
that? Which is better?
who's crying right now, to not steal the title of a song? Is it the hospitals in eastern Iowa that are crying, or is it the state saying, trying to weasel their way in and modify the structure as they go? Why is this an issue then? If they got an exception, didn't have to sign contracts, they're different from every other part of the state.
Well, I think the hospitals are overrun there with what they've got going on, with the number of cases and
Sure.
that, and so the state is doing this so that they can kind of track and help move patients from those more urban areas into the rural areas to make space in the hospitals.
Sure,
And I
the
get
rural
that. That makes sense.
the rural areas are the SS Comfort.
Right,
Got it.
right,
Okay.
yeah. And which is completely different than the mindset that rural hospitals have always had, because they've always said, well, if it gets too big for us, we'll just send them to, like, for here.
We'll just
If it
send
gets
them
too
to
big
Des
for
Moines.
us, we're just gonna send them to Polk. And even though they've been told, no, Polk might not be able to take ours, so you need to be, they never really got it.
Right.
So it's, the changing the system and throwing this, and they're IDPH is saying the governor gave them this directive to do this. They've been very consistent in saying that. But
That's just their crutch though.
I don't wanna send, I don't wanna send my staff up there to work in a room that has all over central Iowa, 2 feet, not even 2 feet.
Well, it doesn't even meet the criteria they're preaching.
Right, yeah. And it started out with the insurance thing. I mean, I was concerned about insurance coverage. I was concerned about the relationships they were blowing up between public health and EMAs, and I mean, that whole thing. But after seeing the picture, of what they're doing up there and how it's set up, I don't think it's even safe to send them.
All right. Well, that can be something for discussion, as long as we know what we're asking.
I think we're just,
We gotta know what we're talking, kind of know what we're asking.
yeah, and I don't know what I'm asking other than.
I think
don't-
maybe then
I don't wanna-
it's giving people a heads up that after this, it has to be
We
reviewed.
need to look at this
Yeah,
and changing the rules after the game starts is not okay.
not a good thing, right? Okay, good. All right, so we got our topics. We'll get everybody lined up here. We'll take a 15-minute recess, get ready, and then at 10 we'll have our call.
Okay.
So Jake, we're on recess.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna,
Do I shut that off, Jake? Or do we leave it running?
Yeah,
Is there or a
Just go-
pause or?
go ahead and shut it off.
Jake, I'm gonna shut this Zoom down and I'll start
Yeah.
the other one in about 5.
Hey Jake, where'd we leave off?
We're on.
We were on recess, so I would just make a motion to come out of recess.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Make motion that we come out of recess.
Second?
Jake?
Ramey,
Aye.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
Aye.
All right, is there a motion to close open session?
Make motion we close open session.
Second?
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey,
Aye. Of our, we're back into open session, a motion to open.
Motion we open session.
There's gotta be a better way to do this, Ed.
Second?
Steve,
Aye.
Mark,
Yeah.
Keisha,
Aye.
All right. Results of closed session were continued discussion of impacts to county operations as a result of the COVID-19 crisis.
Thank you,
Motion
Joy.
to adjourn.
Make motion to
Joy,
adjourn.
thank you.
Second?
Keisha,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Mark.
Yep. We're adjourned.
Thank you,
Thank you.
folks.
Thank you, Jake.
Guys, thanks for coming. Appreciate it.